Welcome back to Kerbal Space Program. Today we are continuing our modded career and we are going to continue our Dune mission. As you remember, in the last episode we ended up in orbit around the Minmus with not enough fuel, and today we are launching additional fuel and the new space tag to the Minmus station to make sure that we can refuel vessels more easily in the future. So here we are approaching Minmus and doing the encounter with the Minmus base. And here it is. I obviously cut all the footage of the ascent and the trans-Minmus injection because we already seen this many times. So let's take our old space tug, undock it, and use it to transfer Bill to his new spaceship. In the beginning I was thinking why the ship is turning so stupidly, and then I realized that the SAS is not on. So I fix it. And here we go. Let's jump the ship. We don't need the old space tag anymore. Hopefully it will either crash into Minmus or leave the sphere of influence of Kerbin entirely. So let's now take this new and improved space tag with better fuel tank and try to connect it to the space station. So let's turn it around and time warp somewhere closer so we can see our target is here. Okay, proper camera mode. And now we're just doing the careful translation maneuvers to align our docking port with the docking port on the space station. Now, at the moment we're not using the docking port on the space station, we're using the docking port on the Duna spacecraft, but for now that would be okay. So let's carefully align and yep, docked. All we have to do now is transfer the excess fuel that we have in the station, and then let's transfer all of it into the Duna spacecraft. Just like that. And it looks like we will have just enough fuel to refuel our interplanetary craft, so we won't go to the surface of Minmus this time. We will leave it for next mission or probably even between missions. So let's continue. I've undocked the tug and now I'm undocking the interplanetary vessel. So now we can take the tug again and dock it back where the interplanetary vessel was docked before. Of course, it would be easier to first dock the tag to another docking port on the station and not just exchange them back and forth, but at the moment the interplanetary craft was closer, so I decided to choose its docking port. Alright, our goal is Duna, so let's create a launch window. And here we are creating the maneuver. The launch window was in 222 days, and waiting that on video is not fun, so I cut it out. Let's start our burn, and it will take approximately 5 minutes, which you won't have to watch due to the magic of video editing. You'll have to watch a little bit, but not the whole thing. So we're not using the best engine for the job. It's not the nuclear engine, but I'm trying not to use many stock parts. And we're using service model propulsion thingy from KW Rocketry. It's not too much thrust, but a good ISP. And here we are approaching, well, not yet approaching, changing our approach to Duna. Making sure that our periapsis is low enough so that we can use aero braking maneuver. Alright, our maneuver is ready, let's time warp to it. And execute. Wonderfully done. Almost perfect. We will only have to change our periapsis a little bit when approaching the Duna itself. So let's time warp into its sphere of influence and see what we can do with our trajectory. First of all, we want to raise our orbit a little bit so that we go in more equatorial region. And then we want to change our periapsis to make it lower. So here is our maneuver node, let's time warp to it and let's execute it. Sorry for the violent disco thingy lights on the screen. I can't do anything with it, it's just the way the Kerbal Space Program is showing things on the map with such zoom. So we changed our periapsis to 14 kilometers and let's see if it will work for the aero braking. Let's do all the signs that we can in high orbit around Duna. And now I realized that I cut the footage in the wrong time and the whole aero braking maneuver was cut out. Basically, one orbit less is in the video than there was in original. Sorry about that. But really nothing happened in this orbit. We only learned that we don't really need a heat shield with the re-entry to the Duna because we are entering at only 1.5 kilometers and there is literally no heating whatsoever, so no heat shields required. And we're continuing doing our aero braking around the Duna to make sure that we end up in a nice circular orbit. And it is going to be our last pass for today. In our next episode we are going to try to land and see what we can do from there. But for now, thank you all for watching. Remember to like, dislike and comment this video in the section below. My name is Darlock and I will see you next time. Goodbye.